Looking back on the week that was and forward to the week ahead. It's the Fantasy Football Hustle. Here are your hosts, Brian Drake and Dwain McFarland.
Hey, what's going on out there in fantasy land? It's Brian Drake from FightingChanceFantasy.com, and we are ready to draft tonight, folks. We always talk here on The Hustle about roster construction, about knowing what you're doing, about taking value, about being smart. Tonight, we're going to put 3 years of work on The Hustle into motion. We're going to let you sit sidecar with Dwain McFarland of Pro Football Focus and Establish the Run and myself as we draft in the prestigious Pros versus Joes Challenge. Thanks a lot to Darren Armani, Fantasy Mojo, for letting us into this. What a great field we have tonight. 6 industry experts, 6 high-stakes players. Oh, if you can hear that, it means the draft is beginning. And if you're watching along on YouTube, you're going to be able to check this out. We have the 3rd overall pick, Dwain. How's it going? Are you ready to draft tonight?
Oh, yeah. And it's already on us. So, Drake, we're going to take Zeke, right?
Yep. McCaffrey first off the board. Saquon Barkley went second. So we take Zeke Elliott. Nothing crazy there. This is FFPC best ball slim. No kickers, no defense. 12 teams, 18-round snake draft. This is a 16-week season where total points wins. There's no head-to-head, no waivers, no free agency, no trades, none of that nonsense. Quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a flex, which gets 1.5 PPR points, 2 flexes, which can be running back, receiver, tight end, then 10 bench spots. Winner of this gets a 2021 FFPC main event seat, and that's worth a couple of grand itself. Dwain has won a lot of money playing high-stakes fantasy football. He's
this
an expert
format
at this.
Specifically, this has been the format that I've done the best at.
Yeah, so
I finished on the top 5 of the Football Guys Players Championship 3 different times, since 2014, 13. Oh, wow. Kittle just went in the first round, pick 6.
Wow.
Not Kittle, I meant Kelsey. Oh. But, yeah, so Rich Rebar Rich is up next, but Jared Smola started us off from Draft Sharks with Christian McCaffrey. Then you got David Dodds from Football Guys at pick 5 going Michael Thomas. Mark Davidson takes Travis Kelce. So Mark plays on a lot of these. He knows how valuable the tight ends are. And Rich Rebar takes Dalvin Cook.
So Dalvin Cook falls to the 1-7. In your home leagues, you might see him, going 4 or 5. So maybe a little bit of value here for Rebar.
I kind of wonder about that, actually, Drake, because the mass public seems to be more afraid of Cook than the non-mass public, is what I'm gathering. Because I dropped a tweet the other day on Twitter, and I was kind of surprised how many people came back with, "Oh, I'll never touch him. I'm not touching him." And I was kind of like, "Wow, there's a lot of people that feel pretty strongly about not touching Dalvin Cook." So we'll see.
So some of the names you might know in here: Brad Evans from Fade the Noise, Josh Hornsby. You know him from Roto Grinders, does that great.
Establish the run too for Josh.
Yeah. Jared Smola from, I believe he's in Draft Sharks. We're there. David Dodds from Football Guys. And then some guys you might not know, but are really, really sharp, high-stakes players, and they do a lot of FFPC stuff. Miles Sanders to Glenn. I'm going to call him Glenn Lowy.
I don't know how to say his last name, unfortunately.
We're going to go Lowy. He took Miles Sanders at the 108.
Took your guy, just for you. Now you got Brad Evans from Fade the Noise sweating it.
So again,
just to tight end premium. Yeah, tight end premium. Sorry, go ahead, Drake.
Yeah, tight end premium. That's why you're going to see tight ends go a little sooner than you would probably in your home league.
Not a little way.
Yeah. We're hoping here, that somebody good falls to us.
Okay, Derrick Henry's gone. Kittle's gone. And so people know, the key here is you start 2 runners, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 2 flex, though. And it's the running backs also go really quick here. The running backs and the tight ends will be gone very fast. So Nick Chubb just went pick 11 to Hornsby. Derrick Henry was to Brad Evans at Fade the Noise. And here goes Devontae Adams. I think it's a great pick down at the turn.
That's one round of the book. Devontae Adams and Joe Mixon on the 1-2 turn to Scott Kobe. Back to Hornsby. He's going Chubb and Kenyon Drake. So a nice runner start for Hornsby. Now, this is Matthew Jacobs here in the 110. He's got Kittle, so he's gonna, you'd think he's got to go runner here. So we're getting, it'll be down to us before you know it. What are we looking at here in the second round? We got Zeke.
What we would love, what would be optimal, is if Mark Andrews or Zach Ertz would slip, because then we take care of that position. We at least have a starter in it. We are in a tight end premium. Outside of that, I'm willing to go ahead and take one of those two guys. Outside of that, we're still looking at value, but we'll have to see what lands, and we'll have to see what slides. It's kind of hard to pass a runner or a tight end here if it makes it, even though there's probably going to be a receiver we really like. So we'll have to see, though. Who slides? Like, obviously, if like a Julio or somebody were to slide who just went to Brad Evans, we would obviously pounce all over that. You still got to be opportunistic, and you don't want to draft scared. But let's see, like, the way I think it's going to unfold, is we'll either end up with a tight end or a running back here.
We appreciate everybody joining us here. Special little edition of the Fantasy Football Hustle. If you're on our YouTube channel, you're watching this along with us. It's the best way to learn. We're going to have some more fun shows coming up, talking a little wide receivers, still hammering the running backs. Some of the receivers we're going to talk about are guys like Julio, who just went in Tyreek Hill to Glenn Lowry. So he starts Miles Sanders, Tyreek Hill, Rich Rebar on the clock now. I got my Warren Sharp Sharp Football Analysis open on my computer. I was just giving that a peruse earlier, and he goes Austin Eckler of the Chargers.
That helps us, Drake, because Rebar was the one I was worried about snapping a tight end right there, and then I didn't think one of the others make it. And don't get me wrong, I'd love for Eckler to slide, but truth is Eckler's not making it past these next three guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we got 3 picks before us. There's 2 tight ends we like on the board. There's also Chris Godwin, Drake.
Yep.
And if Aaron Jones and James Conner are there, I'm out on Aaron Jones, and I think it lets us wait.
You are up next.
So Aaron Jones and Hopkins both go.
All right, so we'll be on the clock next. We got to see who Jungle Cats takes. He took Elvin Kamara in the first round. Let's see who he takes. My screen's a little slow here.
So we're staring at either Chris Godwin or Mark Andrews here. Drake is, or Zach Ertz. I think that's the 3.
Do you think we play chicken? We take, say a Godwin's there, and we say, let's see if one of the 2 come back.
It's easier to play chicken at receiver because you get Godwin, DJ Moore, Allen Robinson, all those guys in the same tier, and you don't have to worry about it because Godwin just went.
Godwin just went.
We're going to take Mark Andrews here. Go ahead and get our tight end. I love Mark Andrews. With Hayden Hurst gone, think about it. This is a guy that already, he's the alpha on his team. They could end up needing to pass the ball more this year. He's going to be running more routes with Hayden Hurst gone. So to me, that's a really easy pick right there with Mark Andrews. And Drake, I'm not opposed to coming back with your boy Zach Ertz if he makes it back.
It'd be interesting. We're playing to win here. Zach Ertz on a team that just lost Marquise Goodwin. We don't know if he's going to make the squad or not. Alshon's on the PUP. Who knows about Deshaun Jackson? I know you and I were talking beforehand. We still think that Ertz is going to lead this team in receiving. 88 receptions last year, 116 the year before. He's a lock for 75 receptions. And his touchdown numbers have come up. That used to be something early.
Smola just took James Conner on us on the freaking turn. James Conner is my love this year in the 3rd round for folks that don't know yet. Like I literally, he belongs in the 2nd round. And he took Zach Ertz. Smola crushed that turn big time.
He went
James
McCaffrey, Connor Ertz.
Very, very good. That's a very strong start.
We'll see what Kevin Proctor does here. He has Saquon and Evans. So you wonder here if he's going to let if tight end's going to start to slide, if we start jumping down tiers, because next guy's on the...
We got to talk about our pick, though. So the question is, do you want to go with an upside runner like Edwards-Helaire, or do you want to just go ahead and grab a guy like DJ Moore here, who I think is going to be ridiculous in the offense he's about to be in, especially with the average depth of target that, Teddy Bridgewater likes to operate.
You like him over Thielen?
Well, Thielen we don't have to take right now. That's where ADP comes in. Thielen is the guy that can make it back. DJ Moore will never make it back. And so Allen Robinson just went.
Ooh, I like him a lot.
So the options here, are do you want to go with an Edwards-Helaire and go ahead and get an upside runner? Or do you want to go ahead and take DJ Moore right here?
Let's go with the wide receiver.
Okay.
I say that because if we're choosing between a rookie in this COVID world, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I love DJ Moore. I think, you're in for 150 targets ish right, there. I know there's a lot of noise on Twitter. Oh, DJ Moore is overrated. No, he's not. You just don't know what you're talking about. He's essentially going to be playing the Mike Thomas role, which he kind of was playing anyway. Yes, he's not as big as Mike Thomas, but his average depth of target is going to be 8 or 9, and he's going to get fed. Are they going to score as many touchdowns as the Saints? No way, but they're going to need to throw plenty. I expect DJ Moore to still score by far his most touchdowns of his career. I think the 6 to 8 range is definitely doable for him. I definitely expect to see him, have an uptick versus where we've seen him in the past. So I like it, Drake. I love to look at my board and look at it and think, man, there's 3 players that I love on my team, and I love all 3 of these players: Ezekiel Elliott, Mark Andrews, and DJ Moore.
There goes the first quarterback, Lamar Jackson.
See, that's what we needed Smola to do. We needed Smola was too smart. We needed him, and then Dodds goes Patrick Mahomes. That kind of surprises me.
I've been watching these pros versus Joe's drafts. This is the 3rd one they've done. And the first 2 on that 2-3 turn, that's when Jackson and Mahomes go. So they're sliding a hair in our draft. Overall, if you look at FFPC, Mahomes is going on average 212 and Lamar's going 3-2. So there was a little bit of a slide there.
Well, Edwards-Helaire just definitely slid. Rich just got Edwards-Helaire to go with Cook and Austin Eckler. That's a really strong start. I mean, Edwards-Helaire, here's the problem with runners, Drake. Once you get to this tier, the receivers that are being drafted right now are going to score about 250 points. The running backs that are being drafted, I have projected for 200 points. It's just a positional scarcity thing. The thing is, with Helaire, we do know what the upside of an Andy Reid running back is. So sure. I still like the pick by Rich, especially if you draft a bunch of teams. You want to gain exposures to guys when they're, at a discount. You don't want to have to reach for guys just to get some exposure to them. So like the way Rich played it right there, I love it. Edwards-Helaire slides into his lap. I guarantee you there's people on Rich's board that he has graded with more points, but he's getting some exposure to a player that he knows has big upside. And it's just a supply demand question. Remember, he can flex 2 runners here. So, I mean, Rich has already got his 2 starting running backs and a flex running back right now.
In the chat room, somebody asked us about Mark Andrews and his possible diabetes issues with COVID. Any thought to that?
Yeah, I think all that's a possibility. Everything I've read, though, is that Mark Andrews is dying to play football. And I guess I shouldn't say dying, but like that was terrible. But he wants to play. I just don't think it's going to be an issue. And I just don't play scared in these things. Drake is typically if I've got some really hard information, I think it's a great question, to ask. But to me, it's splitting hairs a little bit at this point. We have no clue what's going to go on. Look at all the news that we got today. I mean, there's players that we're not even thinking about that we could wake up tomorrow and find out that they're not playing football.
Sure. Let's update you a little bit. Our boy Glenn Lowy, we're going to change his name every time we talk about him. He goes Miles Sanders, Tyreek Hill, Kenny Galladay. Nothing wrong with that. I like his start there. Brad Evans, our pal of Fade the Noise, Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, Leonard Fournette, who's kind of a polarizing running back.
I love the first 2 picks. I don't like the Leonard Fournette pick right there, but it is a positional scarcity thing. I mean, it is what it is. I just think Leonard Fournette, you're looking at about, 30 receptions this year. You're not going to get 70. So the offense has really got to be better. Now you could easily get touchdown regression, but it is a positional scarcity thing. So I don't love the player necessarily. And he's just a loose cannon. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see how it turns out, but definitely from a positional scarcity standpoint, I see what, Brad's doing. So there goes Odell Beckham and Calvin Ridley. Ridley at the end of the 3rd. They're a receiver. I love Ridley, but man, there are receivers right now that I am chomping at the bit over Ridley. I mean, anyway, I'm not gonna say them out loud.
Kelvin Ridley's ADP is
I don't wanna jinx it.
43, 4.7 is where he's typically going off the board in the last week in these FFPC slim drafts.
There goes Melvin Gordon.
So Scott Kobe on the turn, Kelvin Ridley, Melvin Gordon. I'm a Melvin Gordon guy this year. I think with the way that team's going to play, he's going to score a lot of points. I'm not worried about Lindsey behind him, and I think he's just a beast at the goal line. And I think you're going to get a real good RB1 numbers with a guy right here he got in the 4th round. Maybe in your home league, you get him a little later.
Yeah, I think he's an RB2, and I think he's going to give you weeks that he's just an RB3. Philip Lindsay is just that good. Like, if you look at every data point that's consistent about a running back, whether it's Pro Football Focus rushing grades, whether it's, yards after contact, whether it's missed tackles forced, all these things are out there. And then if you just watch it, Lindsay is a really good player. In fact, if you look at his first 2 years, he is one of the best graded running backs in the NFL since 2008. Over his first 2 years, out of about 120 guys, he's in the top 6. So I like Melvin Gordon, but I think you're looking at 200 carries max this year, 225 for Melvin Gordon, somewhere in there, where I think he will be a huge asset to your point. I think we'll be in the passing game. I think he could still easily have 50 catches, and that insulates him. But I think the price is probably right on here. He's a 3rd, 4th round pick, and I'm not against taking him. I just don't think he carries the upside people think. Now, again, if you get to draft a player at his floor and you're not getting to draft him at his ceiling, it's always a good value. So I'm not against drafting Melvin Gordon. He's not a guy I'm going to reach for like ever.
Darren Waller off the board right now to Brad Evans. So he scoops him up here, 4 picks into round 4. The 2 picks before that, Josh Hornsby went Juju Smith-Schuster and Matthew Jacobs, Le'Veon Bell. So we're going to be up here in about 5 picks. Our boy Glenn Lowry's on the clock. Are we looking running back here before it totally fall? And Chris Carson goes. That's a guy I was just going to ask you about. Shoot.
Yeah, Carson is a guy that I still like. And, we've talked about him on the hustle. That's the pick I wanted. Rich is destroying this. Adam Thielen in the 4th round. Adam Thielen, folks, he's a lock for 150 targets. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy has handled 26% market shares before. He's shown he can do it. He's going to be the lead guy. Yes, it'll be a run first offense, but they'll scheme him up. They're going to move him. They'll move him in motion. He'll get a lot of work off of play action. Rich is destroying this draft right now. But it's no surprise. Rich knows what the hell he's doing.
David Johnson off the board. There was another back. David Dodds, of Football Guys, is up right now.
I want the guy here that can win your league, Drake, to be honest. Like for me, it's AJ Brown if he makes it here. Next is Robert Woods. Robert Woods is going to lead the Rams in receptions, receiving yards. Probably not touchdowns, but he could, just based on the fact that he's going to lead the team. But most people don't know that. You know how many snaps Cooper Kupp got out of 12 personnel?
Like 6.
David Dodd doesn't know. David Dodds doesn't know. He got 11. And this team's going to look at the team. You get rid of Brandon Cooks, they're going to run 12 more than they did even last year. Last year down the stretch, Cooper Kupp topped 90% of snaps only one time out of the last 5 games. He did it all the time in the early part of the year. Their strategy clearly changed after Brandon Cooks was hurt, and now Brandon Cooks is gone. So Josh Reynolds is the starting receiver along with Robert Woods in 12 sets. So you're going to have massive fluctuation with Cooper Kupp. He still belongs, down here in this tier, but there's no way I take Kupp over Robert Woods, AJ Brown, DJ Chark, or Terry McLaurin. Damn it, Drake.
Jonathan Taylor goes to Jungle Cats. We're on the clock.
And we're taking A.J. Brown unless you object. A.J. Brown could be the wide receiver 1 of all fantasy football.
Again, this is a draft where the only person that wins this is the person that scores the most points. You don't have to beat anybody. You just have to score a boatload of points. So, upside matters. So
are you good?
Yeah, I'm fine with that because all the running backs here are kind of crapshoots, and we're going to have a shot at a few of them coming back anyways.
Yep. So here's the deal with A.J. Brown. He was over 25% target share multiple times down the stretch, 4 out of the last 8 games. He had a couple of 30%ers, Drake. Yeah, they're a run-first team, but he's the clear alpha, and this is a guy that can do pretty much everything. Does he have limitations still in his game? Yeah, but he's one of very few rookies to average over 2 yards per route ran, which is a very sticky stat. It's shown to be predictive. I think we just got, honestly, I think A.J. Brown, getting him right here, and sometimes you can get him to slide into the 5th, but it's a steal. And I'll take him all day over Raheem Mostert, who just went.
He just went. Yeah, I mean, Raheem Mostert, you're talking about a guy who's in a committee with Lord knows how many other backs right there. A.J. Brown, I hope his receptions come up. He only had 52 catches last year, but he did turn that into over 1,000 yards, which is ridiculous.
Jared Smola and Rich Rebar are both doing a great job. Smola just took Robert Woods, who I was actually wanting just to fall back to us. I just went for the upside with A.J. Brown, but Robert Woods, like I already said, he's going to lead that team in receptions. He's going to lead that team in yards.
McLaurin just went right there.
Yeah. So dude, Jared Smola's smashing this.
Yeah.
He and Rebar are clearly, they know what the hell they're doing.
All right. So we'll be up here in a pick.
Yeah. So the guy I like here, Drake, I say you either go receiver again, or if you're looking to win the league, you take Cam Akers.
That's the guy I was going to say. I want Cam Akers here. I want him over the Ingram-Dobbins split. Forget
Agreed.
Singletary. I don't care about him.
Agree.
Let me look at receivers.
So if Akers makes it, I say you jam it. There's receivers that are above him, but we're going to get another receiver coming back.
Right. Yeah.
Here's my thought on Cam Akers. He's going to be your starting running back for the Rams by week 5, if not week 1. And I know everybody's saying, oh, well, have you heard? I mean, Sean McVay is saying it's going to be a running back by committee. If you've really read the quotes, he says that they're willing to do that, but they're willing to let the best guy win is what they're saying. And I think it's going to be Akers. I still think the Rams have a chance to be a top 5 offense. If I don't get a running back, my second running back by round 5, people are getting some insight here. Akers is the guy that I take pretty much every draft in round 5 if I still need my RB2. If I go 0 and just want to get aggressive, which I don't do that often, it just depends on the way the draft falls out. It's usually when I'm down at this end and I'm going with a modified RB strategy. But I like Akers in the 5th. I've already got him right here at 200 points. I've got him graded the same as Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right now. And I think he's got, similar, upside. Edwards-Helaire's top upside is obviously a little bit more, but Akers easily could be a 250, 270 point back. I think at worst case, right? Drake, he's 45% of the carries, 5-10% of the targets. So you still get startable. You're still going to get production out of him, even if he doesn't end up just ripping the job away.
Here's what I like about our squad. People often just bypass Zeke and they go, oh yeah, Zeke, whatever. This is a guy who's going to get 1,400 yards rushing. He's going to catch 50 plus balls. He's going to score double-digit touchdowns. So we've got a guy who could be a top 5 running back, probably very close, could be running back 1. We've got a top 3 tight end. We got some super upside wide receivers, an emerging running back 2. There's nobody we look at and we go like, I don't like that guy. I don't like.
Look at the pick we just made.
There's all upside.
You take Akers. Now Ingram goes, Montgomery goes, Singletary goes. So the other thing I like here, I wish we didn't have to deal with Smola down here on the turn. He's busting our balls a little bit.
Yeah, he's gonna have to become a guest on the show one of these days.
Yeah, he's great. He knows his stuff. Like I said, him and Rich, and it's on Rich again. Rich is sitting here. Rich can still get a T.Y. Hilton, a Tyler Lockett, a DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, Keenan Allen. He's got all sorts of options. He's probably thinking about his tight end right now. He's wondering, does he take Higbee or one of those guys? And he takes Kareem Hunt. So I think Rich just made his first mistake, in my opinion. He's a super smart guy. So, he'd probably disagree. But I've studied this Stefanski offense, a ton. Basically what you're hoping for with Kareem Hunt, and it's really just a wish, man. You're hoping that he gets a role similar to Tevin Coleman in 2016 with the Falcons. And it's just not an easy thing to do. Mm-hmm. They're going to run 12, 21, 22 personnel all the time. That means there's not a lot of slot routes to go around. He's not going to displace Jarvis Landry. He's not going to displace Odell Beckham on the field. So he's going to be the guy giving Nick Chubb a breather. Nick Chubb is the best running back as a runner in the NFL right now. He's the best. And Kareem Hunt is really good too. So that does hurt Chubb some. But Kareem Hunt in the 5th round, I'm just, especially with what Rich Rebar already has. Now, if Nick Chubb goes down, Rich is going to win this league, period. There's just no way you can beat him. So that's the argument there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it costs too much. He's being drafted, not at his ceiling with an injury, but he's being drafted at his ceiling without an injury to Nick Chubb. And I don't like drafting players at their ceilings.
After him, DK Metcalf off the board, Cortland Sutton. So you can see we're kind of changing tiers here at wide receiver.
Still a good tier. This is still a good tier.
There's still guys out there. Keenan Allen's still out there. I think T.Y. Hilton's still out there. So we're going to have choices at wide receiver coming back. Nobody's doubled up at tight end yet. Trying to take advantage of that 1.5 PPR. Quarterback, only 2 have gone so far as we near the end of round 5. We appreciate a lot of good chatter in our draft room. So thanks for hanging out, guys. As we're here doing pros versus Joes.
I'm not getting to watch it, so just let me know what the questions are, because I'm like marking off the board and I'm managing our queue. And then tried to give commentary.
Evan Ingram off the board to Hornsby. And Lockett rounds out round 5. So if you're just joining us, you're looking at our squad. Zeke Akers are our running backs. DJ Moore, A.J. Brown. Young ascending wide receiver talent. Mark Andrews is our tight end in this tight end premium. And now we only need to fill out 2 flex spots and a quarterback and then a 10-man bench.
Yep. So
Damian Williams starts off the 6th round.
Yep. See, somebody's got to be wrong here, right? You're either wrong about Edwards-Helaire or you're wrong about Damian Williams. I mean, it's kind of similar to the Hunt Chubb thing. You got to be wrong about one of the 2 players. It's really hard. It's very, very hard to have 2 running backs that are worth taking in the top 5. I mean, the thing I will say is that, outside of Chubb, Hunt is one of the other best, he's a top 10, running back, by all statistical purposes, as far as looking at the things that, help drive performance. So you do have that going for you. I think you're still, though, wishing at the top end, drafting Kareem Hunt, in the 5th round, when you could have had DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, T.Y. Hilton, Tyler Lockett, guys that are all for sure. Cortland Sutton is the number 1 receiver on his team. So is Hilton. Tyler Lockett's always good. So, yeah. There goes Swift. That's a little bit of a slide for Swift.
Yeah, Swift has been going last week, middle of the 5th round.
Yep. Getting some value there at round 6, pick 3.
I'm a big Will Fuller guy. He went to Hornsby. I like Will Fuller a lot this season.
I think that's a reach too. I think that's a little bit of a reach on Fuller. I have no doubt that now you're playing upside. If Fuller plays a whole season, we all know what happens, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's definitely that. I don't think Fuller can play a full season. We've never seen it, and I'm me, Drake, I don't put a ton into injuries. Like, I look at them, but like, I don't overthink them. But Fuller is one that definitely gives me, pause.
Devontae Adams off the board to Brad Evans at Fade the Noise. So we're going to be up here in a few picks. Let me look at some of the best players available on the board, according to the FFPC and their projected queue. Dobbins, Hunter Henry in there, Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs, and we get a couple of quarterbacks here in Murray and Prescott.
There is a guy
Higbee's
really
in there. Boyd.
Marquise Brown.
In terms of running back, it's pretty scarce. You're looking at Keenan Allen to rebar right there. The guy must be listening to the show. Hi, Rich.
See, and that's where Rich is really good. Like, see, he makes the pick and Hunt, but he knows how to come back and make it pay off. What he did is he looked at his tiers and he said, "Man, I'm going to get one of these receivers coming back to me." Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened. And that's that comes from experience. That comes from doing a lot of these drafts. Rich is obviously, he's an elite drafter. He's an elite fantasy player. He knows his stuff. And so he turns around and makes it pay off. I talk about that in my tier article. Look, there's actually a strategy where you can make the Kareem Hunt pick work. Just don't plan on him being a starter. You need to fold him into your roster and just know that you're making an investment in round 5 that may not pay off early in the season. You got to see how things are going to go. And Rich, he nailed it. He handled it perfectly. Great.
So we're going to be up next here. Jungle Cat's on the clock. Ronald Jones just went to David Dodds. So what are we looking at here, Dwayne? Do we try to go another tight end here? Do we snag another wide receiver? How are your tiers breaking down?
Yeah, I think the choices here are Tyler Higbee. I think you could take Stephon Diggs, who I do not mind in a best ball league. Drake, he scares me a little bit more when I got to pick when to put him in every week. So there goes Hunter Henry. So for me, it's either Higbee or it's Diggs, or if you want to try to fold an upside runner in, we could go Dobbins. I still, it's for me, it's still tough to see Dobbins paying off this pick without Mark Ingram seeding touches, in some way, shape, or form, whether it's injury. So what is your thought? We got basically two guys left in the tiers at tight ends. I like. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys at receiver.
I want to go tight end before that drive. We could flex
Higbee's the guy. If you want to go for winning your league, if that's what you're all about here, Higbee is the guy.
Yeah, because we could flex him.
All right, I took him.
Take him. We'll see how it happens. Who knows? Maybe later on down the draft, because it's a 10-man bench, we'll see if Everett's there. Maybe he falls to us and we can stack him in the backside of our bench, and we're just cruising with Rams tight end. Because again, it is a best ball. We don't get to touch anybody. They're going to spit out the best lineup for us. So that wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to do.
What's the ADP on Geis? That's got to be early.
His ADP, I was just looking at him.
Because he's a guy I've been thinking about, but I was not on my radar at all there.
7'6".
Okay. So that's
he
about
went
around reach. All right. Tyler Boyd.
I don't mind Boyd.
Yeah, Boyd's not a guy like you love. And look at that. See, I mean, Jared just knows how to do this too. He just took Dobbins.
Is this a spot as we get into round 7 where you might consider quarterback?
Here's the thing. In best ball, they do go sooner.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not against it. And I know you love Dak. I normally don't do this. Here, normally I'm taking Stephon Diggs and I just keep booking.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, look, Dak, I have Dak in the same tier as Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. So do you want to do it? And it's going to start a run. They're all going to start taking them.
Do you care that we have Dak and Zeke? We're really betting highly on that Cowboys offense.
I do not care.
Let's go.
It's an offense you don't mind betting on. So
I like the fact that we're going to get our guy. Maybe we didn't get.
I'm flexible, Drake. I'm flexible for you, man, because I love you. Look, man,
again,
I love Dak's been going in the 6th round of these.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a value on him. Anytime Dak is the quarterback this year that if I've taken a guy that slid, it's Dak. The other thing is, again, it's best ball. So best ball quarterbacks typically all go a little bit sooner. So I don't mind getting a top tier guy. That helps offset early season. Cam Akers comes out of the gate a little slow. You know what I mean? So I'm good with that. I passing Diggs, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm kind of like, I don't have to have Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's fine in a best ball, but yeah.
Dak Prescott the last week, according to FFPC data, again, thanks Darren Armani for this, going off the pick 6'5" on average.
Yeah,
so we got a little bit of a value.
Yep.
So our starting lineup right now, missing a flex, is Dak, Zeke. I'm going to put my Eagles jacket back on. Cam Akers, our running back 2. Again, it's best ball, so this is just, you know what I'm talking about, folks. DJ Moore, AJ Brown, Mark Andrews, and then Tyler Higbee. So now from here on out, Dwayne, are you just
definitely, what I would love to get is either Gallup or CD Lamb to stack with Dak here. Because if Dak, think about it this way.
Or later too.
Let's the 2 of the receivers though, because if Dak is the quarterback 1 this year, right? If that happens, that means he's either got 2 guys in the top 24, or he's got a top 12 and a top 24, or he could have 3 guys in the top 36. And so it's just going to give you those huge weeks. I did a draft like this 3 weeks ago. And it wasn't me just being a homer, but I took Dak and then I turned around and took Gallup, who slid, and then CD Lamb slid, and I took him in the 10th. And so I stacked Dak with Gallup and Lamb. It's basically saying, look, if Dak goes nuts, those two guys, it's probably not going to be a stack you're going to see a ton. And they're going to do well. It's kind of like the DFS play of, hey, the best correlation, some of the best correlations to, having a really big game is stacking a quarterback with his number 2 receiver, because that means the quarterback had a really big game. There goes Gallup.
You know what I like here too is people often forget this is best ball. This isn't your home league. We're definitely going to be trotting this lineup out. We're trying to get the best players who are going to peak and give us the most points. So Dak Prescott, could he be quarterback 1? Absolutely. Do we have 2 elite tight ends? We like to think so. Zeke's a stud. We're betting on Cam Akers upside. We're going to take some more shots here at wide receiver. But we've planted our flag on some positions like quarterback and tight end where we think we've got extreme talent. And that's gonna separate us from everybody else. When people are going to be just shooting shots down low at some lesser quarterbacks, we've got a consistent guy we think every week is going to be a top 12 guy.
Yep, there goes Kyler Murray off the board to Brad Evans.
Mike Gesicki in round 7 went to Glenn Lowy. Mike Gesicki in round 7. Okay. There's your starter there. So hitting the back half of round 7.
Jarvis Landry's gone.
Yeah, Michael
Gallup, who we just refresh it. Sometimes if it starts lagging like that, I just hit the refresh.
What are you drinking tonight, Dwayne?
Topo Chico.
What is that?
Just mineral water, carbonated.
Bell's Lighthearted Ale.
Deshaun Watson. Here they
go.
This is what we need. We need these guys to, so part of what I love to do in drafts, and I'm not saying we're necessarily doing that here. There's drafts, though, where I can definitely see that I am doing it. You're just dictating things. It's like you're starting the runs. You're not at the end of the runs. You're at the beginning of the runs. In the perfect draft, you do it at every position. Those are rare. Like we didn't get to do it at running back here, but I feel really good about our first 4 picks. And then the next 3 picks, I think, are all basically, I don't care about 12th place in this league. I want to win the league.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Hawkinson,
Russell Wilson. See, so I mean, we took tight end and we took quarterback, and now they're flying.
Right. If we passed on Dak here, we'd be looking at our QB1. We'd be like, by the time it gets back to us.
Yeah, Josh Allen could go here, and I don't like Josh Allen, but I do like Josh Allen in fantasy.
Right. We'd be staring at Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan as our starters here.
And we would just pass.
Austin Hooper now off the board. So I think we've got 2 guys who realistically can be top 5 tight ends. Who knows with Higbee, but we'll address that a little later.
Even if Higbee's not a top 5 tight end, I think he's going to be a top 12. So I don't think there's a way that Higbee goes back to being like a top 18 based on all the research I've done. Here's the deal with Gerald Everett. He can't block. When the Rams run 12, it's not with Everett and Higbee on the field at the end of the season last year. The blocker became Johnny Munt, and Higbee became Gerald Everett. So what was going on earlier in the season, Higbee was blocking, Everett was running the routes. Well, here's the deal. Higbee probably just won that role, Drake. He exploded. I think that's his role.
And the Rams just drafted another tight end to replace Higbee when his contract's up at the end of the year.
Gerald Everett most likely is his backup and won't even be the other tight end in 12 sets. It'll be Munt because he's the better blocker, and they're going to use that to help run the ball. That's helping them run the ball because they're running into all these problems with that, right? So that's my thought. I think that Higbee, I think Everett could spell Higbee, occasionally, is kind of where, my head's at.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Darrell Henderson already?
James White, Darrell Henderson back-to-back.
I don't think has Darrell Henderson ever gone that early?
Well, let me look up his old ADP here. James White's ADP is middle of the 7th round, so kind of on point for him.
He was right. There goes the guy I wanted. It's Keyshawn Vaughn.
Let's see. Jordan. Wow. Burrito. Darrell Henderson's ADP is 11-1.
Yeah, I knew that was a huge reach. Brandon Cooks. That's a good pick.
Here comes Rebar.
Rich, freaking prick. I'm sick of you, Rich. I don't even like you anymore.
Deontay Johnson. Here's Rebar's team. Let's talk about our friend of the show, Rich Rebar.
Great team.
Sharp football analysis. Delvin Cook, Austin Eckler, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And he goes with Thielen, comes back. Kareem Hunt's his, fourth. That's his lottery ticket. That's him trying to win the league. Then he rounds out his receiving corps. Keenan Allen, Michael Gallup, Deontay Johnson. That's a good squad. Watch Josh Allen fall back to him here in the 9th round.
Oh, man. Yeah. That's the thing I love about drafting in the middle is you get to sit there and just pick off those values. I wanted Cooks or Deontay Johnson here. I'll be happy with Julian Edelman if he makes it. He probably won't.
All right. We're getting close here, Dwayne.
There goes Gronk. I was not going to let Gronk go back to Rebar. I'll tell you that.
All right. So we'll be up next here. Let me pull up the draft room, see who's available. Pull up all. All right.
I've already got our queue full.
Guys, see the queue here. Guys you like.
Edelman's the easy first pick.
Edelman, Marvin Jones. Some of these other guys, we're reaching.
Christian Kirk's, but CeeDee Lamb, you can wait.
Sure.
But you need to look at the runners because we need a runner with one of these 2 picks.
Yeah. Marlon Mack, Kerryon Johnson, Lindsey, Sony Michel.
Yeah, see, that's the problem down here, right? It's a big pile of poop. I don't want any of those guys. Those are all guys that their teams don't. I mean, I like Philip Lindsay, but I think he's going to hold back Melvin Gordon, but I don't think he's going to hold his own value. You know what I mean? But he does make big plays. I think here we take Edelman. We go ahead and knock that out. Boom.
I'm fine with that. Him or Marvin Jones, I was good with.
Yeah, Edelman by far over Marvin Jones, though. But, I mean, just because Edelman's the clear number 1, he's all they got. Marvin Jones could either be the 2 or the 3 on his team.
Chris Herndon just went, by the way.
Okay. So you got
now we're partying. Crack another beer. Chris Herndon just went to Kevin Proctor at the 8-11. Whew. That's a play to win pick. I got to look at this ADP.
Small, I bet you Josh Allen's one of his 2 picks.
Herndon, another end of the 11th round ADP.
And I'm going to try to predict Jonnu Smith and Josh Allen here to Jared.
Let's see what he does. I sent him a tweet on Twitter, said we were respecting his draft. And then go F himself.
Nope, Marvin Jones, your guy.
Yeah, I'm a Marvin Jones fan. I think he's really good. You can see some of the numbers of how he is.
Dude, he's almost the same.
He's a comparable with Galladay.
People are overdrafting Galladay. He did take Jonnu Smith. I got one of the 2 picks right. Oh, right, Rich, we need you to be in a pinch here, man. We don't need you getting a tight end.
Looks like we got to block him here.
We got our own problems, Drake. We've got to take a running back.
All right, let's look at these guys. Is Tevin Coleman?
Tevin Coleman is an upside play. I think he's going to play 30 to 40. I think he'll get 40% of the rushing yardage. He is a much better value in my mind than Raheem Mostert. I don't see Mostert taking over the whole backfield. He's not a pick that they spent a lot on, and Shanahan's shown historically, he can make anybody a superstar. But right now, he's got a rhythm going, with these guys. All he did was give incentives. Everybody's like, oh my God, Mostert, move him up the board because he's got incentives in his contract. I could just as easily say that, so now they're not going to give him as many carries. They're like, here, fine, be happy. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We're not going to give you the carries. Look, I like Mostert. I think you're expecting a bit much with that. So the other option here, Drake, it's hard because these receivers, like this little tier dries up. We got Christian Kirk, just sitting there. We also have Dak with CeeDee Lamb. So I feel like coming back, unless is there a running back you like here? Do you like Jordan Howard? If you just want a guy to do something. Look at you. You're like,
I'm looking at the 2. I'd almost rather have Matt Breida over Jordan Howard, but
do you want to take Christian Kirk then? We got 12 seconds, dude. I'm putting it on you. Do you want the runner or do you want the receiver?
I'm going to go running back.
So it's Jordan Howard then.
You're going to take Howard over Coleman?
Yes. Yeah, just because of the way we've constructed our roster right now. I just want the guy that can help stabilize us while Cam Akers gets going. Because it's not going to be our strength, right? It's not like this is going to be. I don't want to just swing for the fences on every pick. I want to come back now and swing, later. Like I would love to pick up like a Zach Moss. See, Christian Kirk just went like that. I felt like in my gut that was the pick, but we did need a runner, and I don't disagree with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super excited about that pick, but you see, look at the reaches on tight end.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, there goes Goddard.
Kirk. Lindsey.
There goes Lindsey.
So Lindsey's off the board. I mean, you want to look at some of these guys. Look at the last few running backs that went off the board. Keyshawn Vaughn, Darrell Henderson, James White. We had Howard, Lindsey. You could make the case that Howard's the only starting running back from this group. Now, is he going to catch many passes? No.
Yeah, the problem is he's a touchdown guy and he plays on a shitty team.
Yeah. That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, it's okay.
But again, it's best ball.
Yes, we made our bed, and I'm okay with it. Again, roster construction is a balancing act too, right? And Howard is just a stabilizer. If things work out the way we want, the way that helps us win the league is by week 3 or 4, Cam Akers is our starter, and we don't worry about Jordan Howard. He's just a bye-week plug.
Okay, D-Bro in the chat. He's not feeling the Dolphins line.
Oh, yeah, the Dolphins line sucks.
Yeah, we agree. All right, we're not setting the world on fire with our 9th round pick, but
I don't even like Jordan Howard.
Marlon
At some point, that's the deal. At some point, you have to, when you draft the way we did, aggressive up front, you have to take your medicine at some point, and you're never going to like it. We could have waited around, and we wouldn't have liked it. Now, I would love to come back and get Tevin Coleman or Zach Moss.
Yeah,
and Tevin Coleman went, so ain't happening. He's moving up. He's people are starting to catch on to it.
We'll see where Jalen Reagor falls.
Our buddy Matt Waldman thinks there's a good chance that Zach Moss just straight up bulldozes, Singletary off a cliff right away.
Yeah, we're going to need some guys who we think can take over some backfields.
Don't forget CeeDee Lamb with the stack here, Drake. I can't believe Josh Allen didn't go yet. Like Rich took Matt Ryan straight up over Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Ryan, he was on pace to throw the ball 8 zillion times last year. And he's got great weapons. His defense sucks again. He's going to, he's that guy, Rich always talks about that Konami code of running back or of quarterback, and Matt Ryan doesn't have that at all, but he's going to throw it a ton.
There goes Matt Breida.
Josh Allen on the turn. Closes out round 9 to Scott Kobe. So he's got 2 quarterbacks here in this best ball with Russell Wilson and Josh Allen. Appreciate all you guys in the chat room. Smart guys too. A guy, Derek Brown. He's of Fade the Noise now.
D-Bro.
Glad to see him in there. How's it doing, partner? He's checking out his running mate, Brad Evans, who's in this draft too.
Yeah, Brad Evans, that Keyshawn Vaughn pick I liked in the 8th. I would have signed off on the seal of approval on that pick for sure.
Right. We know he's on the COVID list right now. We don't know if that means he's tested positive or he just was around somebody, but there's still enough time. We'll see what happens. Deebo Samuel off the board. Don't know when he's going to play this year. I'm very leery of guys with foot injuries at receiver. So I probably won't draft Deebo Samuel on any team this year.
Yeah, undoubted, the talent, that he has. But yeah, I'm with you. I've got him way down my board. When you have the Jones fracture, scares me, Drake.
Let's see. This guy's asking how many rounds does this go? He's waiting for Trubisky. This is an 18-round draft. It's 12 teams, 18 rounds. It's a 16-week season, total points. No head-to-head, no waivers, no free agency, no trades, No kickers, no defense. And again, the winner gets a 2021 FFPC main event seat. So now we're in the round 10. We're starting to get some reaches here. We got a hurt guy. We got a COVID guy in Justin Jefferson. We got Anthony Miller, who a lot of people like, but it's yet to prove anything on the field.
Yeah, I mean, this is just where those guys start going. Crowder, that's a nice floor play. That's Brad Evans.
I take Rieger over all those guys.
Yeah, I like Rieger, Ruggs, and Lamb over all the guys that just went. Now, I like Debo. If he's healthy, he can outperform all those. I'm with you. I'm super leery. Damn it. There goes Zach Moss straight.
Moss goes to Glenn Lowry, Mecole Hardman to Rich Rebar.
Mecole getting another big upside play there for Rich. The 112-pound receiver.
Sounds like me in high school.
Were you that fast, Drake?
I was on the I ran middle school, high school, and college cross country and track. I could run.
Nice. There goes Emmanuel Sanders. He's been moving up.
People sleep on him. He's going to have such a good year. I think he's going to sack all the value away from Jared Cook.
He could. Drew Brees loves those tight ends down in that red zone, though. Lat Murray. These guys are messing around down here in my 5 upside tier, Drake.
All right, so coming back through, we're almost on the clock.
I want to take CeeDee Lamb if he's there, just because I love the stack with Dak. If Dak goes off and Lamb goes nuts, Matt Waldman's number 1 ranked receiver. Matt loves him. He thinks he's basically going to be – nobody's going to be able to deal with him in the slot. And it's just a bet on Prescott.
The running backs will be available. Carry-on, Sony, Madison, Tony Pollard. We do have Zeke.
Yep. We need to go with one of the other guys. Honestly, a guy I wouldn't mind taking, Drake, in the upside tier there. You got Darrington Evans. You got Boston Scott. Because Scott can give you a little bit of flex capacity, as well. So what are your thoughts here, Drake? Like, I'm on the Lamb thing just because it's Prescott. You're making a bet on the team.
Boy, I wonder, do you think we could I think we could take Rager here because he's a guy who could legit be the number 1 wide receiver on that team. Lamb's not going to be the number 1 wide receiver on the Cowboys. Yeah,
I just don't see Jalen Rager like anywhere over like 18, 19% target share. I have them both at the same target share. I don't think Jalen Rager's good enough yet, to be honest. I think this is going to be Zach Ertz and then sprinkle around. I think the Cowboys are going to put everything. I mean, if you want to win this thing, I think you have to go Lamb because you're stacking him with Prescott.
All right, I'll give you a Lamb here, and we'll come back the next round, and I'll find somebody.
All right, we'll see. Rager may come back.
Mm-hmm.
We need another running back.
Yeah.
There goes Madison.
Jesus.
I mean, yeah,
they're have 8,000 Cowboys on this team.
They're plowing. They're hitting that tier. Notice how these players know how to do this.
There's Madison that just went.
Yeah. So I think the remaining like lottery ticket runners, Drake. I think you've got Edmonds, Boston Scott, and Darrington Evans.
I like Edmonds.
I do too.
Carson Wentz to Smola on the turn. So C.D. Lamb. You are up next. So carry on Johnson to Smola. He goes Wentz Johnson here. Now we'll be on the clock as
Daniel
Kevin
Jones goes.
He took Daniel Jones. So we're on the clock here. We already have a quarterback. We got 2 tight ends. So we're kind of just.
If you want Rager here, I'm fine with it. If basically what we're saying is, look, we're either flexing tight end or receiver. And I'm okay with that. So if you want Rager, let's take him.
Take him.
And then we're still going to get one of those other runners coming back in this tier.
I'm glad we got both.
I am too.
It's tough doing drafts with another guy. I know, we're doing this. It's a show for us, but I mean, we are competing in this draft, and we're hoping some folks out there learn a few things. We always talk about draft strategy and roster construction and all that, but it's difficult drafting with a friend.
I'm used to it. I've done it, because when I started off in high stakes, I couldn't afford to play by myself. So I always had to split it with somebody. And I happen to have a buddy named Daniel, who's actually really good at this too. And so we used to do all this together, and so I'm used to it. I'm used to talking through, this stuff, but we would also work on projections together. So everything, and you kind of get that because even though you're not doing projections with me, we talk about them every week on the show. Mm-hmm. So I think that makes it easier, man. When it's really hard is if it's somebody you don't know. And, you're trying to, come to a consensus. It's really hard for me because I know how much research I do. Sure. And so I'm yeah, good idea. I probably get a little bit dismissive, kind of like pat him on the head. Like, we're going to take this guy over here. Actually, I think I handle it pretty well, but it can be a challenge, to your point, if you haven't done it.
Yeah, for sure. Then here's the thing with Sony Michel. I was thinking about him. They just lost their fullback today. Dan Vitale opted out, right?
Yeah. And they still have Jacoby Jacobson, which was it was a linebacker last year. But we'll see.
Appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. It's a Fantasy Football Hustle. Brian Drake, Dwain McFarland, PFF, and Established Run. What do you got coming up on PFF this week?
I submitted my ADP top fades at each position and my top values at each position. We've talked about several of them tonight. Cam Akers is on my list for my values. James Conner, we already talked about. So I kind of I take a deep dive on all those guys. There's a quarterback that's still left sitting here that I think is still going to finish in the top 5 or 6. That's the one challenge with taking quarterback, is there's still so many guys that you like, but it is best ball. So we're going to want to carry 2. So we may have to, at some point, we'll pull the trigger on that if it just keeps falling. There goes Pollard.
Nah,
it's okay. We need Evans, Scott, or Edmonds to come back. I wouldn't mind having 2 of those. Joshua Kelly is the other name rattling around in my head, Drake. I think there's a really good chance that guy wins, some portion of Melvin Gordon's role. He's just a bigger guy than Justin Jackson. The more I watch him, the more I read about him, the more I've read Matt's stuff at the RSP. I know if Debro's still in the chat room, he loves him some Joshua Kelly. He's posted several things about Josh Kelly. So that's a name for us to remember. Another name to remember here, dude, is Antonio Gibson. The Redskins have nothing.
There's Boston Scott.
Yeah.
Also, when you guys are doing your drafts with your home leagues or wherever you do it, you won't be tweeting out, hey, watch us talk about our picks to the other people you're doing a draft with, which we're doing right now. But hey, whatever. It's all for the listeners. We hope you're enjoying it, and we hope you're subscribing to the YouTube channel. So please, if you're watching this or you're in the chat room, just go to YouTube. You see our page, Fantasy Football Hustle. Hit subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us out a ton. If you're listening on iTunes, give us a nice 5-star review. That helps us in our search rankings and all that fun stuff. Baker Mayfield off the board to Josh Hornsby. That's his first quarterback. And we end round 11 with John Brown of the Buffalo Bills, kind of the forgotten man now in Buffalo since Stephon Diggs came in.
So there's no way Hornsby thinks that Baker Mayfield is better. Now, maybe we shouldn't be talking. There's Joshua Kelly because he normally does slide a little bit. But Hornsby did the Baker Mayfield thing because he's got Odell Beckham. And he's got Nick Chubb. He's just basically putting a big chip down on the Browns offense, which they're going to be good.
Question in the chat room, will this be a podcast? Yes, it's easy for me to do. I'll make this into a podcast. So if you're listening to it, yes, I made it into a podcast. Someone, Dwayne, wants to know, what's the biggest mistake or most controversial pick you see on the board?
The biggest mistake.
Or controversial. I think I thought Darrell Henderson was a tad early. And who else was that super?
Yeah, Darrell Henderson for sure. He's the most controversial and the biggest reach. But I always try to look at it from both sides. I do a ton of research. Just like we're talking about with Akers, he's in a top 5 offense. If Henderson gets it together, he's a guy that we all liked last year. You know what I mean? So I think it's something where it's the eye of the beholder. I get the thought process someone's going through, but I think Henderson's a reach. What I try to look for more, like when I think about, in terms of that question, is more roster construction, right, itself. And so, hang on, I'm trying to manage our queue, manage my board, and I want to answer this question. We're kind of in we may have to wait a minute, Drake, but I want to come back to that because we're kind of in a critical spot here. Like we're in a spot in the draft where the rounds, 10 through 14, are so much more important than what most people think. And so I want to keep focused here, but I definitely want to come back to that question. Let's take a look. And there may not be, there's not always a huge glaring one, in every draft. I mean, obviously we're in here with a lot of sharp people that know what the hell they're doing. And a lot of the people that this is all they do all day long, is read and study this stuff and do projections. And so we'll look at it though here in a second. There goes Naheem Hines and Jay Sternberger, friend of the show.
Mm-hmm. Still a couple of tight ends I really like out. Ebron, that's one I was going to talk about.
Yeah, it's a good pick. And who did that? Every time
I got a rebar. I think he's subscribed to the YouTube channel.
The Tom Brady in the 12th round is insane. Tom Brady is probably going to finish in the top 6 quarterbacks. That's why it's even hard for me to take Dak. Like I would have just taken Tom Brady in the 11th, but I love getting Dak.
Stafford just went too.
Yeah, see, that's the deal. So now that whole tier of quarterbacks, just dried up, which, I'm fine, coming back to it. But yeah, Tom Brady, it's insane to think. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to give away everything. I wrote a lot about Tom Brady in my article this week. I mean, I went way deep on all the things people are talking about, like, oh, he can't throw deep, he can't do this, he can't do that. There goes Goff.
Oh, he was the guy I was targeting.
Was he?
I like him. Well, there's a couple other, I like Big Ben, I like Garoppolo. If we're taking our depth plays here. All right, so let's get back. Let's see what running backs are here. Chase Edmonds still there.
I think Edmonds is the pick for the upside of it.
Sony Michel's a starting running back, and nobody's touched him yet.
I know, but I think Edmonds, if you're trying to, if you want the upside, Howard, we took our medicine. Let's take the guy we want now. You agree?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
I got you.
All right,
we might get Sony Michel on the way back.
Maybe. Hey, look, Sony Michel can still have 3 touchdown weeks. I mean, if Antonio Gibson, man, these guys are
Gibson off the board to Kevin Proctor. If Sony's there, I think we take him.
Yeah, Gibson maybe should have been our pick there. I really like him. I thought he might come back this way. I don't necessarily disagree. I mean, it at least gives you just between him and Jordan Howard, if one of them score a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Irv Smith a lot. I like Henry. I think Henry Ruggs could easily be the number 2 on his team. I like Henry Ruggs better than Mike Williams. Who just went.
I think we have a lot of rookies though.
Yeah, well, I don't. That doesn't bother me. I never think about things like that. I think about trusting my process and grading and.
But in this COVID world, with the some of these guys have like 8 padded practices.
That ain't gonna matter. Everybody's gonna be dealing with the same thing.
And these rookies scare me a hair. All right, so we'll be popping back up here in a moment.
I mean, it's on us. It's Irv Smith, or we go ahead and get our extra quarterback, or we take Sony Michel. If you want Sony, I mean, he has a value at this point.
Yes.
Okay. Taking medicine. I hate taking medicine, Drake.
But again, is it that bad to take a starting running back?
No. It's just, but you know what I mean. You're not getting to take the exciting player. It's a decent move from a roster construction standpoint because now what you've done is between Jordan Howard and Sony Michel and a best ball. one of those two can take Cam Akers' spot until he comes on. Between the two, right? And then you got Chase Edmonds as the upside if Kenyon Drake goes down. We've already seen, what can happen. Basically, whatever running back is in that offense, you're going to like. So I like the two picks. I'm good with them. I would still like to have one more tight end, and we need another quarterback. So we got to think about that. Like Irv Smith, I really love.
And just went.
Yeah, I knew he wouldn't make it. That's the thing with like trying to do the podcast and talk through it all. Like if I'm just drafting on my own, that pick right there, one of those. I mean, it's nothing against Sony. That he probably still would have been the pick. Honestly, Sony still might have been the pick. But Irv Smith, just look over at the tiers I sent you.
Yeah,
Irv Smith is it. Like that's it. Like the tier is completely wiped after that. And so you're looking at things like that. Because you're saying, I may not get Sony, but I could still get, I got 6 other guys here. So we'll see.
I like the Sony pick just because, like we said, running back is so scarce, and we got a guy who's going to be the starting running back and could score touchdowns. If you're the goal line back, there's Cam Newton is there, so Cam Newton could be the goal line back.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing that worries me a little bit more was, obviously Sony's got all of his worries, but, the Patriots really could, try to run the ball more. I hate that they lost their fullback. I think they've shown that they would like to, they're building this team, to be able to run the ball. We'll see if it all is able to play out though, with how they're getting hit with some of, the offensive line issues, losing their fullback to the COVID list. So we'll see. AJ Dillon, that's a guy that I was definitely willing to stash.
So we're cruising through the 13th round. So far in the 13th round, Deshaun Jackson, Golden Tate. We took Sony. Then it went Irv Smith, Duke Johnson, Chris Thompson, we like on the Jags, Curtis Samuel, kind of a forgotten man, AJ Dillon, and there's Will Dissly to Brad Evans as his second tight end. They did add Greg Olsen out there in Seattle, but Dissly, when he gets a chance, often shines.
Yeah, you're right. A guy that shines in limited work.
Our last few picks, Sony Michel, Chase Edmonds, Jalen Reagor, CeeDee Lamb, Jordan Howard. That's our bench so far. Appreciate all the folks watching here. Had really good, fun chatter here on our chat room. We love that. If you guys are looking for any other info, maybe it's fantasy baseball, fantasy hockey, NBA, go over to fightingchancefantasy.com. All kinds of new writers there, getting their start in the industry, writing great stuff. My guy, Jim Riley, he does some graphics for us for The Hustle, our thumbnails for some of the shows, including tonight's, and he does a lot of great baseball stuff. So check him out over at Fighting Chance. Give him a follow on Twitter. Dawson Knox now. So it's getting deep at tight end, Dwayne, as we end round 13.
Yeah, we may only roster 2. At this point, we'll have to see. We've got 5 picks left. We need another quarterback for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We need to look at bye weeks on the quarterbacks because we've got a week 10 bye with Dak.
Okay, so the quarterbacks that are still left, you still got Rodgers. Nobody of note has a week 10 bye, so we don't have to worry about that. Tannehill's still there. Tannehill had weeks where he was in the top 5.
Yep.
So we can look Tannehill. I think Roethlisberger has a big comeback year.
Yeah, I agree on Ben. Like of the guys sitting there right now, I like Burrow because I do like the leg factor that you get from the rookie quarterbacks. I like his weapons. I know they're going to pass the ball a lot. Man, I don't like Aaron Rodgers this year.
No.
At all. Like I hate his weapons. It's a slow pace. That offense has ran an average of 930 plays over the last 2 seasons. The league average is 980. I mean, that's given up a full game worth of plays. Yeah, a lot of things. It's nothing about, Aaron Rodgers. But the situation's bad. There goes Burrow.
think it might be Big Ben.
The thing I like about Tannehill, Drake, to your point, I actually like Tannehill or Bridgewater because we have A.J. Brown or DJ Moore. I like both
Bridgewater
of those.
just went.
Did he? Okay.
Burrow just went to Brad Evans. We might be able to get 2 of those guys if we want to go 3 quarterbacks.
I don't know that I'm just thinking optimal, like roster construction for best ball.
Yeah, there goes Big Ben to rebar, of course.
Yeah. Ben was the one that was staring at us like a sore thumb. And he's got that with Deontay Johnson.
You are up next.
Here goes Aaron Rodgers.
So we could get the stack with A.J. Brown and Tannehill.
That's what I like, to be honest.
Darrington Evans, Justin Jackson, back-to-back.
Let's just take Tannehill here.
Yep.
I like getting you get the double stack.
So our 2 quarterbacks are Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill.
There goes McKinnon. That's a nice pick. The Darrington Evans one, man, we needed that.
Yeah, we need some more upside here. Let's see.
Oh, there's Darrell Henderson still on my list. I guess I should mark him off now. A guy not to forget is Carlos Hyde. If Chris Carson does have problems with that hip out of the gate, and we know that Rashad Penny's not healthy, it's a run first team. Henry Ruggs, man, that's a value right there. Henry Ruggs is gonna, man.
So we're coming back around.
He stacked it with Derek Carr. So yeah, Smola, man, mad respect to Smola's draft here.
We're back up on the clock right now.
All right. There goes another quarterback, Drew Lock.
I'm looking, and it is Skank City. All over the place here. Who's the best player on the board? Jeez Louise.
It's either Rivers or Cousins. I like all those receivers in that tier. Is John Brown still there, or did I miss it?
No, he's gone. There's D.D. Westbrook. Brashad Perriman.
Perriman is the next in my tier.
He's the number 1 for the Jets.
Yeah, I think Perriman I like.
Take him.
All right.
Especially in a best ball. That's a guy that could go, 3 for 160 and 2. Who the hell else they throw into it? You just have Crowder? He's just a little underneath guy.
Well, Crowder is going to lead the team in targets, but Perriman's going to he can give you those big weeks. Josh Reynolds is a name to remember. Like I said, he's going to be on the field for everything for the Rams. Paris Campbell is a name to remember. Harry Wynn, I think. I must have missed marking him off. Yep. These are my favorite, Drake. I wish all leagues that I was in had no kicker and no defense, honestly.
Hornsby just tweeted calling you a jerk that he needed Edmonds to slide. Let's see. Tight end is a wasteland right now.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at the available tight ends, if we ever wanted a third, O.J. Howard, Greg Olsen, there goes Gerald Everett, Kyle Rudolph, and Njoku. If you want to get real deep, Jesus, Tyler Eifert, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, O.J. Howard is the one I like out of the ones you name because their base personnel is going to be 12.
Mm-hmm. You can never count on Gronk. You don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in.
Right, and we can never count on O.J. Howard, but this late.
That's a great point. Shit, I might say, let's say Kyle Rudolph, because the guy who just stands in the end zone, he's the couch, and just catches touchdown passes.
He's the couch. I like that. Yeah, I want nothing to do with Kyle Rudolph this year. But I like Hyde. We mentioned a minute ago.
Some other guys out there, running back wise, according to their Malcolm Brown, McFarland, Gio Bernard is a guy out there.
Yeah, yuck. Gio just doesn't move the needle at all for me. It's bad at runner. Now, what we could do, Malcolm Brown.
Sean McCoy's still there.
Well, Malcolm Brown is there, right? And we have Akers. So he's in that mix.
And you remember Malcolm Brown was the handcuff last year to Todd Gurley. It was not Darrell Henderson.
Right. Raquel Armstead I like because Leonard Fournette is just a fickle. He's crazy, Drake.
And he knows he's gone after this year.
Yeah. So Armstead
he could take it. He totally looks like a guy to me who could twist an ankle and then just milk it for a month.
Yeah.
Jimmy Graham did go off the board. Matt Jacobs.
Oh. So if Rudolph is the couch, Drake, what is Jimmy Graham?
He's the pull-out sofa. He's the futon.
He's the futon. From now on our show to be known as the futon.
Boy, remember how elite Jimmy Graham used to be?
Oh yeah, man, it was insane. He was my first pick of a dynasty league that was tight end premium like 10 years ago. I had round 1, pick 3. I took Jimmy Graham. It was worth it.
So now we're starting round 16. So we only have 3 selections left in this best ball pros versus Joe's draft.
So peruse the bye week straight.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually done pretty good. We haven't stacked up. We've got the Cowboys, right? So we've got the 3.
We got way too many Cowboys
there. But overall, we're not like super heavy on any one week. We do have 3 on week 9. So anybody else that we take here, let's just think about that.
Some guys I'm liking if it comes back. I like Garoppolo in a best ball. Just so we have a third guy. And I do think more about this COVID stuff because I think, if you got guys go down, if you're thin at one position, you could get hurt. Receiver is a wasteland. Some of the guys out there still. Paris Campbell, your guy. Alan Lazard, the number 2 in Green Bay. They just lost Evan Funchess today.
Yeah.
Again, it's a best ball draft. Who knows?
Yeah. Paris Campbell's an easy click it for me. Steven Sims is another guy. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's garbage.
Well, no, don't forget Josh Reynolds, dude. He's going to be on the field all the time. He could surprise some people this year. And he has that big play ability. He's the guy they target deep. So he's nice for this type of team. The problem is he's got that week 9 bye, which we kind of need to avoid.
What do you think? Who would you take? Paris Campbell, Alan Lazard. I think I'd take Lazard.
I like Paris Campbell better. I think Paris Campbell's going to be the 2 this year. And I just think he's a better player than Lazard. I saw all I needed to see from Lazard last year. Lazard was the 2 pretty much all of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, people act like this is new news. Oh, Devin Funchess is gone and Lazard's the 2. Lazard was the 2 last year. He's really, he's a
It's unbelievable the garbage that they've surrounded him with besides Devontae Adams. You have 2 guys drafted in like the 5th and 7th round, and then everybody else is a UDFA. It's ridiculous.
There goes Josh Reynolds. It's a good pick.
Can still get some upside here with Armstead, Malcolm Brown.
Oh, Vance. Somebody's doing the Vance dance.
Vance refrigeration.
Man, I was all on the Vance dance last year.
Still on the board. There's some high-end backups. I did this in, I think it was Scott Fishbowl. You can look, Reggie Bonifant is the backup, we believe, for CMC if he ever goes down.
The problem is we don't know for sure now. Like,
Mike, what's it? What the hell's his name? The kid with the Giants. Gallman.
Hey, Rich took your boy.
I swear Rich is listening to the show. Say hi in the chat room, Rich.
Hey, Rich. Rich is like, right. I don't need you 2 morons telling me anything. He's like, I got this shit handled. He's like, look at my squad. Steven Sims, see? Nice pick.
All right, so we'll be
David Dodds of Football Guys. What we'll do, Drake, at the end of this, we'll have a little commentary. David.
Now you are on the clock.
David just took Paris Campbell. Come on,
Visca
man.
Chenault.
Come on.
So we're on the clock.
I think it's if you want another tight end and you want the upside, it's OJ Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's gone, Drake.
He's gone. Yeah, I mean, it's
last
Rudolph
round.
and Joku.
Yeah, like it's flying now. It's like I'm talking and I'm not watching the board. Let's see here. All right. Well, I'm fine with carrying 3 quarterbacks.
Yep. I'm fine taking Garoppolo here.
You want Jimmy G?
I'd take, I mean, you got him or Cousins.
I'm fine with Jimmy G. What's Jimmy G's bye week
11?
Neither one of our other guys to that have that. Yeah. I don't mind it.
I know our guy Evan Silva is leading the charge for Jimmy G for MVP with his odds out there. Maybe Jimmy G's a guy that can have 3 touchdown weeks.
Well, think about this. When Shanahan, remember his first year with Matt Ryan went bonanza, right? Mm-hmm. He went bonkers. So it's possible. And this Shanahan offense, every once in a while, things don't go right on the ground, and you could still have a really explosive pass offense. It's more about efficiency, less than attempts. So if you go back and look at Matt Ryan, his attempts came down in those years, but man, hyper efficiency. I just hate the injury to Debo. That's the only thing with Garoppolo that gives me a little bit of pause. But man, I got no issues with it.
All right, we're going to be on the clock again here. So we're looking at either, if we want to go high-end runner, Raquel Armstead, Malcolm Brown to back up Cam Akers, which is probably a smart play.
Now you are on the clock.
I like taking Armstead personally. I mean, he's got the week 7 bye, but I don't mind Malcolm Brown either, just like you said with COVID. Is that who you want?
I'll take either one. Yeah, they might come back to us either way.
I like the upside of Armstead, personally. But hang on, let me look over here at my tiers. I haven't been doing a good job of marking off. I've been talking too much.
I'll look at them too. Let's see.
Those guys are gone.
Yeah, I mean they're down here in no man's land.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's take Armstead.
We're betting against Uncle Len. But again, we're playing to win.
And
it's not like Chris Thompson would come in and command a 3-down roll. He's strictly a 3rd down guy. Oh, all right, so we got 1 pick left on our team here. We can really shoot for the moon. Now, there are guys like Devonta Freeman on the board.
Yeah, I don't want to take another runner, to be honest. Like, in best ball, we've already taken like Edmonds and Armstead. I like having them, but in best ball, really, you want the receivers. So what we need to do is stack our board with all the receivers that we like, and coming back, you take the one you like the most.
Well, good luck with this crew.
Hey, it's best ball, so just think of it that way.
Yeah. All right, so we'll load it up with all the studs here. Who's left? Greg Ward, Adam Humphries, Ted Ginn.
Randall Cobb can easily come through with weeks out of the slot.
Sure.
John Ross can come through with weeks. T. Higgins.
Corey Davis, Albert Wilson, Kenny Stills. How about the man, Nelson Aguilar? Cole Beasley.
Yeah, no.
How is Jordy Nelson in this queue? Jordy Nelson is below Cole Beasley and above Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah, you need to resort yours by ADP.
I'm just doing an overview here. 2020 projections.
No,
he's still there. Ryan Fitzpatrick off the board to Brad Evans. All right, so we're finishing up here the round 17. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us here. Hopefully you're picking up some tidbits from Dwain here as we draft in the Pros versus Joe's challenge. A lot of really smart dudes here. Boy, oh boy. I mean, we can't say enough for the job that Rebar's done and Jared Smola.
Yeah.
Those are easily the 2 favorites, but
I agree. I like those two squads a whole lot. I also like, honestly, I like what Lowy did. Miles Sanders, Tyreek Hill, Kenny Galladay, Chris Carson, then Biddy comes back with Metcalf, Marquise Brown, Brandon Cooks, Mike Gesicki, and then he tags on two runners we talked about multiple times, Tevin Coleman and Zach Moss. That's pretty good. And he got Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So I think he did a really nice job too.
He took Antonio Brown, OJ Howard.
Yeah, and he got him way late, right? He got him
Sure.
16. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, Antonio Brown was sneaking up into round 11 and 10. And then, people remembered that Antonio Brown is nuts. He retires and unretires. And yeah. That last pick, Drake, we should have taken a receiver. We should have gone receiver here. Just like rethinking through best ball and the strategy. We should have just said, look, our bet is made with the runners. We'll live with it. But we need to make sure that we've got four receivers. We've got a chance for four receivers to flex every week. We won't have to have it because we have the two tight ends. But we need a chance for every week there to be three receivers. Some combination of four receivers, one tight end, or three receivers and two tight ends. Because we knew that running back was our weakness, and that was our mistake, taking Raquel Armstead right there. And it could pay off. Like if Leonard Fournette goes down or acts like an idiot, it could pay off. But it's not the bet you want to make in best ball. That's a much better season-long play.
I'll bet against Leonard Fournette most weeks, though. He seems like a clown. Now, somebody in our chat room here.
But I'm just saying, like, if people are listening, it's a mistake strategically. We made a mistake. Like, the better play, the odds are there, you go receiver. So, anyway.
Someone in our chat room just pointed out, Kendrick Bourne is the only wide receiver to catch a Jimmy G touchdown pass if Deebo Samuel is out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've always liked Kendrick Bourne. I feel like, they've got Jalen Hurd there. They've got Ayuk there. Samuel's going to eventually be back. I like Bourne. I think he's definitely got some skill to his game, but I mean, they still have Pettis on the roster. It's really cloudy, honestly, damn, Randall Cobb just went. Like Randall Cobb would have been a great last pick for a best ball.
Yeah. I'm looking through some of these other guys here. We're getting down to it. Antonio Gandy Golden.
And like Westbrook just went. I mean, ideally, I think did John Ross go?
No, he's still there.
John Ross.
Kendrick Bourne.
Remember John Ross last year for the first 4 weeks straight? The first 2 weeks of he was a wide receiver one.
But they got T. Higgins now. You got AJ Brown's back. Or AJ Green, excuse me.
I know, but it's a best ball. If you're looking for one play, you need one play. That's my point. Like I'm thinking you got to think strategically, like based on like what kind of format, we're in. The other guy,
if you're looking at it, you could say KJ Hamler, the one guy, Brian Edwards, Andy Isabella's down there.
A bunch of guys we never know they'll even play. See, that's why we should have taken the receivers. How long is Alshon going to be on the pup?
Probably the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, too long. Too long to mess with.
And when he comes back, he's a shell of himself.
We got to figure something out here. Like I'm just like looking at these, and if I'm thinking of a guy that I think like Andy I'd rather have John Ross and Isabella. I think Ross has a chance to be in their 3 wide sets. I don't think Isabella does.
What about Tyrell Williams?
Yeah, I could do Tyrell Williams. He's that kind of guy, Drake. He'll get to play what the role that they wanted him to play, which was really the deep threat.
Because they're going to have, you got Edwards, they got Aguilar, they got Ruggs. Tyrell Williams was miscast as their Alpha X.
Done. Good call. I like it. And
then right behind that, Alshon Jeffrey went.
And think about it. Tyrell Williams, I mean, they do still have a lot of young receivers there. I like Ruggs, and I think the more and more I read about how they're going to use him, like he may surprise us a little bit this year. But we'll see. But he's a young guy, so Tyrell Williams could get a little more than what we're thinking. But at a minimum, we know he can make big plays, and I like that in this format.
And Tannehill. So, all right, folks, that's going to wrap up the 18-round draft. Let's review the squad here. From the 3-hole, Dwain and I started out Ezekiel Elliott, and then it's tight end premium. So we went Mark Andrews, came back, started hitting the receivers with DJ Moore and A.J. Brown. He did another running back. There's Cam Akers, our lottery ticket. Tyler Higbee, Dak Prescott in round 7, Julian Edelman, Jordan Howard. We stack CeeDee Lamb in there. Come back with another rookie and Jalen Reagor. So we got a couple of hopefully big-time alphas at wide receiver on their rookie deals. Chase Edmonds and Sony Michel, who just fell like a rock. Our second quarterback is Ryan Tannehill. Brashad Perriman, who could be a home run hitter for the Jets in round 15. Jimmy G is our quarterback 3. Raekwon Armstead, who knows? We poo-poo it right now, but that could turn out to be the smartest pick of the draft if something happens to Big Len. And we ended the draft with Tyrell Williams, who has been a valuable receiver at times in his career and now isn't going to have to be the man in Las Vegas. So that's the squad. We'd love for you to, if you're on YouTube, go in the comments section. Let us know what you think of the team. We'd love to hear it. What do you think of the squad, Dwain?
I like it. Not everything broke the way we wanted. But overall, I think we stayed flexible. I wanted to get, there were not many picks, Drake, honestly, where I was just like, oh my gosh, that just killed us. I wanted to get one of Tevin Coleman or Zach Moss. That hurt us a little bit. But Sony Michel falling, you're right. Round 13 is too late for a starting running back for the Patriots, even though the Patriots are decimated. So it's some things came back around to balance it out. I like where we got Dak. I like the value. Here's the issue, right? If you just step back and open our minds to it, if you don't take Dak in round 7, and you're not where I'm at on Tom Brady, but like for me, just because I've just had to do so much research and stuff on it, and I've been really looking at him. I just don't see a way where he doesn't finish in the top 6 or 8 quarterbacks. Now, Dak has a chance to be the number 1. So Dak is the guy, and I've said it.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get him and he's sliding around 7 or 8, it's great. And so I love getting him. So, but setting that aside, you have to always question yourself and say, okay, what if? Like, what if we don't take Dak in round 7, right? And it was fine because look at what we did with the quarterbacks. Then
Murray, we started a whole run there.
Wilson.
Kyler, Watson, Russell all went.
But it's all about maximizing your roster, right? So let's say if we didn't do that, you get Stephon Diggs there. So now you got DJ Moore, A.J. Brown, and Stephon Diggs. You come back, you still get Julian Edelman. So now you got those 4 receivers, right? You come back in round 9, you probably still do the same thing. You get Jordan Howard, because if we miss Dak, my plan was to persuade you to just wait on Tom Brady anyway. we would have, and I may have lost. You probably would have made me like take Wentz or something. But round 11 was the round I had set aside to put Tom Brady on the team. And so basically you can look at that and you kind of have to replay it. So the roster would then have, Diggs instead of Prescott, Edelman, Howard are probably the same. Lamb might have changed to a different pick. I really like Lamb, but where I really like getting Lamb is when I can stack him with Dak, right? Mm-hmm. Especially in a best ball, type scenario. So, Lamb might have been freed up at that point, to be a runner. I bet you Lamb would have became Alexander Madison, to be honest. And then looking down, that changes, you don't take Raquel Armstead, it changes some of the other things. But again, it's just, I like to put myself through those exercises. I pre-draft, if I'm going into like a $1,900 main event, I set up, I'm constantly doing my projections and everything and tweaking them. And so I'm constantly looking at what are all the ways I could build a roster? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And it just gets you ready. I've done so many of these now. I mean, I've over the years, like this format of this draft, it's usually 20 rounds and you have a defense and you have a kicker, but basically it's the same as what we have, that we just did, that I'm pretty comfortable with them. But I just like always thinking through those things. But overall, dude, I like the squad. Like you get Zeke, he's locked. Andrews, I think, gives you upside, versus last year. He's the alpha on their team. DJ Moore is a young ascending talent who's going to be the top player on his team. AJ Brown, a young ascending talent who will be the alpha, on his passing squad. Like you said, Cam Akers is where we, basically said, okay, and we talked about it when we made the pick, because we could have taken, DK Metcalf. We could have taken T.Y. Hilton. We could have taken Keenan Allen. Those all would have been viable picks, to have a third receiver. But if you're looking at the runners that remain at that point, Mark Ingram, he's got to deal with Lamar Jackson. He's got J.K. Dobbins nipping at his heels. He's going to regress in touchdowns. I still like Mark Ingram, but there's no way Mark Ingram all of a sudden gets 70% of the carries in Baltimore. Isn't happening. Cam Akers can. David Montgomery, that's the guy you could have argued. David Montgomery is going to get 65 carries, 65% of the carries, 65% of the carries inside the 5. He's capped though in the passing game, just because, you've got Tariq Cohen and they're going to use him, for that. So
Didn't you say we got Jordan Howard rounds later than David Montgomery? Is he that much different?
Yeah, I think they are, because the Bears can play defense, and the Bears can actually keep game scripts close, which insulates a guy like Montgomery that doesn't have a passing role. Howard, on the other hand, but stylistically and not stylistically, but like the quality of runner they are, they're probably similar. They're different in style.
I think the Dolphins are going to be better. I mean, if you look, if Howard plays, and they've got probably the 2 best corners in the league with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. They spent a boatload of dough bringing in everybody who's ever played for the Patriots, basically. I think that defense is going to surprise me. And they play hard for that coach.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But
again,
we hear this every year. Oh, they're going to surprise. You know how hard it is to build a good defense and be consistent with it? It's really, really hard. But it could be. But I think it's, to your point, it's priced in with Howard. The thing is, when Montgomery, and what I try to remember, Drake, and we talked about this before, I didn't I avoided Le'Veon Bell in his second season because I was like, man, the guy avoids every tackle, but he can't move forward. That's what I see with David Montgomery. Like he can make all these guys miss, and he'll run 8 yards to get 1 yard, but he can improve, and I have to keep myself open to that. So from a utilization standpoint, David Montgomery was the better bet. But again, utilization isn't everything. And people probably like to hear us say that because we talk utilization so much. Cam Akers is more of an unknown, but I'll take that offense. Give me Sean McVay's offense. Even though I think right now Akers, the best you can slot him in for right out of the gate is probably 45, 50% of the work versus 65% for Montgomery. There's a big enough difference in the two offenses that I'll take Akers at 50, 45% and the upside to work his way to 60, 70 over Montgomery if I'm trying to win a league. And then the same thing versus Singletary. And the way I look at it, Akers has a clear shot to be the number 1 in a top 5, top 8 offense. Kareem Hunt goes in the same round, and he may be nothing more than a change of pace back all year. So I think Akers was the right pick. Just you got to think through those kind of things. Higbee is really more of a win your league kind of selection, as well. Just because there could be issues. Like I said earlier, I lean towards Higbee being, the guy, but it's not like I would bet my house on it kind of thing, So, but man, here's what I'll say, Drake. Like getting, Edelman in round 8 or 9 this year, he's going to deal with injuries. It's going to happen. But I mean, who else are they going to throw the ball to?
And Cam was great that short, brief period where he had to throw the ball short when they were changing the offense in Carolina. He was really hyper efficient.
Yeah, he surprised a lot of people. He changed his throwing motion. He did some things to work on that. And I mean, remember the old thing was, oh, great, we got Christian McCaffrey, but Cam Newton can't throw to running backs. Remember that argument? So, I think Edelman is like a stabilizer. So you take Akers and Higbee as your upside. See, that's where balance can come in. Then Edelman comes in and kind of stabilize. You know what he's going to be. And then you kind of do the same thing with Howard. And then you go back to upside with CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Reagor and Chase Edmonds, and then you come back and you sandwich that in with a guy that has some kind of role in Sony Michel. So that's when I talk about roster construction, that's the kind of stuff that you want to think through. You think about your whole roster in context, of what you're trying to accomplish. There's other ways you can handle it. Some people just like to swing for the fences on every pick, and I've drafted teams like that just for the hell of it in the past. But man, more often than not, they miss. You just end up in these situations where you've got huge holes in your roster. So I like the draft. I'm with you. I think Rebar and Smola did really well. I think Glenn Lowy did well. I guess the question earlier, right, was what was the biggest strategic mistake of the draft? And so I'm not just going to call out a player that got overdrafted. So you kind of got to look more like at roster construction, itself. So I'm just looking at, team 2, I don't really, the Herndon pick in round 8 is obviously a reach. The question is, do you really want to go tight end right there when you could have gotten a Marvin Jones, a Christian Kirk? You could have added to your receivers 1, 2, 3, 4. He's only got 6 receivers. I like to carry a minimum of 7 in best ball. So that I don't know that that'll end up being a huge mistake because the way the flex works here. So I'm not going to necessarily, knock it because a lot of leagues that people are used to drafting in, and it's like, oh, I start 3 receivers every week and 1 tight end. If that were the case, that pick in round 8 would have been, probably very questionable as far as like how you're building out, the roster. I'm just looking here. I like what Dodds did in the second half of his draft. I wasn't crazy about the first half. But obviously Dodds has been doing this a long time. He's good at this stuff. I don't know, man. I'm not seeing anything like just like blatantly right now just standing out at me. So I know somebody asked that in the chat room earlier, but I'm just not seeing anything where I'm like, oh my God, like they just like blew the whole draft. Are you?
Smart guys here.
Yeah, do you see anything like that?
We sniped him on Tyrell Williams in the last round.
Oh, well, good. He sniped. He freaking pounded us with Ertz and Woods. We loved both of those. McLaurin we love would have been a pick. J.K. Dobbins, coming back around. We had just said his name. We just said Marvin Jones's name when he took him. After that, we were fine. The Deshaun Jackson pick I really like in round 13 in a best ball, and I love Henry Ruggs. I was willing to take Henry Ruggs two rounds before. Smola had a great draft. So anyway, I don't know. Do you see anything, Drake, that stands out to you where you're just like, yeah, man, that was a blunder?
Well, I'm looking at our squad, and Sony Michel falling so far, you're like, yeah, you got to take him. Maybe he'll pay off. The week-to-week upside, I don't think is there. I kind of, looking back now, wish we maybe took Irv Smith there instead, who went with the very next pick to give us a upside third tight end in this format, especially now that they're without Stephon Diggs. Justin Jefferson, I believe, is in the COVID
The other thing
protocol.
you could say is if we knew we could get Sony Michel in round 13, we probably just wouldn't have drafted Jordan Howard in round 9. Right? We could have taken Christian Kirk,
right, because we got two kind of
we could have taken Tevin
low
Coleman.
ceiling running backs.
Now, I think it's still going to work out. They can trade off, right? Hey, just score a touchdown. So we'll see how it goes. If Miami ends up being better than we think on defense, like what you said, which is obviously plausible. That could help. But I'm with you. And again, though, at some point, if you draft aggressive up top and you're not going to secure the other runner, I always say it this way: you have to take your medicine at some point, and it never feels good. You don't want to draft Jordan Howard. You don't want to draft Sony Michel. But if that's the path you're going to take, at some point you have to. And so you just have to prepare yourself for it, because otherwise you'll just keep kicking the can down the road, right? And you'll never have anything. So
our chat room saying Team 7 crushed it. Yeah, that's Rebar's team.
Oh yeah, Rebar did. He destroyed it. Yeah, I think and he made the Hunt pick work out. he's one of the few drafters that knows how to do it, and he's doing it from a spot where it worked. That was a chance for him, to mess up, but Rich is so good at that. The way he did it is actually like it's a class on how if you're going to draft Kareem Hunt, this is how you do it. Like Rich just gave a class. Now, Rich, look, I mean, where he had to take his swings, and notice he took 3 of them, is at tight end. He's looking for a touchdown. He's looking for one of them to score a touchdown each week.
I love that. Doyle and Ebron, that's great back-to-back.
Agree. But he knows it's not his strength. So we're doing that at runner, right? With 2 of our runners. Now, the beautiful thing, is if Cam Akers takes off, really Howard and Sony Michel are just really bye-week fillers, or New England's blowing somebody out and Sony scores 3 touchdowns one week and we're fine with it. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah, man, I had fun.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff there. We really appreciate Darren Armani and the folks at the FFPC for letting us in the Pros versus Joes. We had a blast doing it, and promoting it this way is always fun. We love helping them out, and they gave us all that great ADP data. And it doesn't end here on the Fantasy Football Hustle. We got more stuff coming. What do you think we got cooking for the rest of the preseason, Dwayne, before we even get to your draft guide? What do you want to talk about?
Oh, man, we got to get to receivers. We got to get to tight ends. We've hit the running backs pretty hard. So we've got to come back and do those things. We've obviously got a lot more to talk about as far as draft strategy goes. We'll keep refining, that as we go, as we get more information. And then obviously I think, a fluid topic that we got to figure out, is, some of the questions around COVID and what does that potentially mean, for the way you're going to handle your roster construction. At the end of the day, you still only have so many slots on your roster, right? So you can't really do a whole lot, different, right? Because you could have COVID strike anywhere on your roster. So in a best ball, it may lend to you got to be a little more balanced, right, than normal. Just because it's kind of like the concussion thing. Concussions over the last several years have added that element. Of all of a sudden, you got way more players out for 2 or 3 weeks, right, during the season because of the new concussion protocol. So it'll be similar, I think, to that, but it has a chance to all of a sudden be really widespread, really fast in any one week.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. You already see it in baseball with the Marlins and what's going on there. But
oh yeah, it's insane.
We'll see what happens. But we talked a lot tonight. We appreciate everybody hanging out. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We've got a playlist of running back videos. If you just want short, quick snippets on our thoughts on each running back, there they are. I believe there's 19 different running backs you can view, and we're going to keep adding stuff to that as we go through the off season, get you geared up for, of course, the big draft special, which will knock out in August before week 1. So for Dwain McFarland of PFF Fantasy and Establish the Run, I'm Brian Drake from Fighting Chance Fantasy. This has been the Pros versus Joes FFPC draft, and we'll see you guys next week on the Fantasy Football Hustle. Take care.